Right. I'm going to show you how to make fruit salad, which is this animation. I'll just put this to the end and play it, which is that. And this was constructed in Photoshop and then put together in After Effects. And I'm going to show you how to do that in 3 parts, like a trilogy, like Lethal Weapon. So I'm going to show you how to do firstly the build in Photoshop, and then I'll show you how to do the build in After Effects. And then in the third one, I'm going to show you a little bit of a few extra things that you can do, like particles, to kind of finish it off. So let's start with the Photoshop project. So I found these bits of fruit on the net, mainly because I couldn't be bothered cutting up my own, and so they've got some watermarks on them from the stock company that made them. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of chopping them out. So the first way is to use paths. So I'm going to quickly use the path tool and click and drag to make a nice big curve. Then click and drag to make a nice big curve, click and drag, and click and drag on the one to seal it. So now I've got this, which is not perfect, but I can go in here and adjust these things, which are called splines, and just get them so that they are cutting out the fruit. We don't have to be super accurate because it doesn't matter too much. I mean, it is fruit after all. It's an imperfect stuff. It's an imperfect object, and so that's good enough, I think, to be used as a cutout. So just move that so we don't get any white. And the great thing about paths is that you can take this and then you can move it around, so you can move it somewhere else. So what we're going to do is, I'm just using the arrow keys here because you can move stuff around quite easily with those. So if I go into this window here and paths, then I can right click and say make selection. And now I can select that. I'm going to go copy and in layers B, and it will create a new layer called orange. I'm going to call that orange. Always a good idea to label your layers because otherwise you will forget what they are called. So the next one I'm going to do is the lemon, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called the magnetic lasso tool, which is a very grand name for a way of just tracing around an object. As long as it's got decent contrast, it will go around it. So you just point the arrow, try and keep it as close to the edge as you can, make it go around the object. You might get a bit confused here and there, but essentially it's pretty accurate, especially around these, which are very clean. Copy B, and now we've got a lemon. So last one is the kiwi, and I'm going to use something called a quick mask. So in here you click on this, and now we're in quick mask mode, and that means that we can use the brush. And quick mask only uses black and white, and so when I paint, this will cut out of the mask. And so I'm just going to paint this relatively quickly. I'm not going to spend too long on it because it will make the video boring, I imagine, watching me paint around here. And also I'm using a mouse, so it's not really accurate going around the mouse. Okay, so that's good enough. I'll just fill that in. So when I go out of quick mask mode, then you'll see that it's made a selection around there, but it's also made a selection all the way around. So it's kind of cut a hole out of it. So it will select all of the things around the kiwi rather than the kiwi itself. So what we want to do is inverse that selection and then go copy B. So now what I have is I have a kiwi. So I've got kiwi, a lemon and an orange, and those are nicely cut out. I can take the background, I can throw it away because I don't need it. So I'm going to drag that to the trash. Then I do the same thing on my watermelon. Choose what you wish to cut it out. I'm going to use the magnetic lasso tool. I'm just going to go around this quickly. It's going to be a very easy object to cut around because it's got a very nice contrast. So I'm going very quickly. And so I'm going to repair this bit here and this bit here. Go into quick mask mode and get my brush, flip these round so that I've got the white. Oh, I want to do the other way. do this and just clean it up a little bit because it's a little bit messy, and we'll see that on the final thing. If you press the Q key, you'll flip between these quickly. So now that's done. Press V, get me back to my select tool, copy, go to my other V, and now I've got my big watermelon, and I can start composing my composition. So what I want to do is arrange these. I want to put the watermelon in the back. I'm going to turn off the other ones, and then I'm going to press Command T or Control T to bring up the transform tools, and then I can start moving this around and putting it into a position that I'm happy with. And if you press Option and you pull an object, it will create a copy of that object. Or you could go onto the layer and press Duplicate Layer, whichever you feel easiest doing. I'm just going to grab that layer. And it's grabbing that layer because I've got this thing selected, Auto Select Layer. And so I'm just going to transform that. I'm going to turn it round. If you press Shift, it means that it constrains it to 15-degree angles and stuff like that. So I'm going to put it like that. That looks nice. And then grab this, and I'm going to flip that around. Oops. Turn that to 90. And move that there. Do this. So once you get used to kind of using the shortcut keys, you can move around this pretty fast. So everything's getting lost off the side a bit, which is not what I want. So I'm going to increase the canvas size. So the canvas is this big blank area here, so I'm just going to increase that 45 and 40. So it just means that everything is in everything's within the canvas, and I'm just going to move everything collectively. So I just shift selected all of the layers, and so they're just moving as one. Now I'm going to put my next layer, which I think is going to be the orange. So I'm just going to move that below the kiwi. And that looks a little bit big to me, so I'm just going to scale it down. Like that. I'm going to Alt and Shift, and then pulling it along, and then that duplicates it. So I can move that around. And I think that will do. And then I'm going to do the lemon next. Transform that, get a little bit smaller, and then shift move, and then I'll put another one there. That looks quite nice. And then the kiwi, which is very large. Kiwi's normally smaller than both of these. It's fruit. Well, I'm a fruit expert right now. And move these around, and I'll put one up there, and one down there. And that looks nice. So I very quickly arranged all my fruit into a relatively nice pattern. So I'm going to write my text, not fruits land. So it's very small because of the point size that I've started with, but it doesn't matter. I can just transform the size of the text. I probably went a bit fast there, but that's the text over there. That will give you options to, I'll just scale this up properly, and we'll make that, yeah, that's good, and just make it a little bit bigger. Oops. So there we go. I'm using a font called Downcome, which is, I've got hundreds of fonts. You can have a look. So more than you have at school. And so Downcome is, I quite like it. I think it's a nice font. So I'm just going to, I've got one of these annoying Apple mice, and when you stroke it, it does strange stuff. So I'm going to keep that in the middle, and if you go with the type tool here, you can do lots of different things with it. But I am just going to do horizontal type, and then you can always modify things. And that's essentially it for the Photoshop part. And I'm just going to save my file. I'm going to put it on the desktop, and I am going to call it fruit PSD, and I'm going to save. And then keep all of that, and go OK, and that is it.